I did just get this box and pretty excited about this. I'm gonna be starting to do a lot more stuff in this office. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to do a whole office remodel. Now, this company reached out to me about testing out their product, and they really want me to do some live streaming and this and that. And so that's what I'm going to do. But this is gonna get integrated also into my remodel at some point. I don't know to what extent, but I got my handy dandy knife, I got the box. Let's see what we got here. This is from NearStream. It's a USB 4K live streaming camera. And this one is not something that I would take outside of the studio here, but it could be a really good stationary cam. I did ask them for multiple copies because I did a little research on them. After they hit me up to see if I would test this, I realized that a few other YouTubers that are actually got smaller channels and lower views than me were granted a couple. So I asked for a couple, and they said that they can't do that. I don't know why, but I am still very thankful that they sent me this one, and I'll start unboxing it and we'll see what all comes in the box and what we could do with it. I will probably, at the end of this video, set up a live stream and incorporate all that. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. I'm not sure how I'm going to integrate this into my day-to-day studio work, but that is something that they asked me about. So hang tight. As you can see, it's NearStream USB 4K live streaming camera. This looks very similar to their other cameras. Now, I've never had their cameras myself, but I've seen them online a bunch of times, and the overall packaging looks the same. The package is really nice. It has the features right here. Got some stuff there. It's got the features here as well, but in a, pictorial format. And then their little slogan, NearStream for content creators everywhere. All right, so here we go. We're gonna open this up. I do like, so far, everything is packaged tightly and nicely. There's a warranty card, quick start guide, full user manual, instead of sending me someplace online. That's nice. This comes with a remote, and you could, from what I hear, you could program some of these keys here, have some quick actions. Comes with a long USB cable that also has, let me show you. This is USB-C right there. And then this is USB-A, but that's actually an adapter. So it's USB-C to USB-C with its own adapter to go to USB-A if that's what you got. That's what you're working with. And that's the box. I'll show you there's nothing else in there. Pretty simple. I am gonna put this stuff back in here, and I'm going to set that to the side. It's just loosely packaged with some packaging material. NearStream logo there on the side, really nice and clean. Very large lens on the end of this. That's going to be really nice in a lower light scenario, especially like what's in most studios. And this, I believe, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yep, 8 microphone array. If you're going to use the inboard microphones, they are supposed to be pretty good. I'll probably hook it up to a microphone that's here. You've got HDMI, USB to power the unit or to send it to your computer. And then you got Ethernet. You have a mic input here and another USB here. And that secondary USB, I believe, is just to power it. If you were just needing to power this someplace else, you'd go that route. Or if you didn't have enough power, you should be able to just hook it up to your PC, whether it be a Mac or a PC. You've got your quarter 20 on the bottom, and that's it. Some suggestions for them, I would maybe put a couple more quarter 20s to mount it differently. Maybe one on the top so you could mount it from a ceiling, for instance, or if you wanted to mount it to a wall sideways. Otherwise, you have to buy some adapters, which is not a big deal, but those adapters can get costly. This unit, I believe, sells for about $300. It's plastic, but it's heavy, so it's not like some other cameras I've used where it just feels like nothing. This has some weight to it. Feels like there's a solid base in here, and then the glass that's in here is pretty substantial. So this is the NearStream VM20. I think it's built really nice. It's kind of built like a tank. I do like that. Got a really big lens. You can see that lens is bigger than my eyeball, which is nice. It's got a remote. I'm gonna unpackage that really quick. Like I said, I believe you could program these buttons to do like zooms and different things. And then you've got a long cable. That's all you get in the package. It's a very simple setup. You got a really long cord, probably about 6 feet, somewhere in there. So you could get this about 6 feet away from your computer that you're using. If you do that, I would definitely recommend plugging a microphone and getting that closer to you. Even if these microphones that are built in are stellar, the fact that it has a mic input gives you better mic options. Even if you just want to put a lav mic on, that's a really nice addition. Some cameras don't give you that, so I do like that. I do see that there is, on the front, there's a little tally light system there. I will have to look in the directions, but I believe I've seen on other videos that changes colors to signify different things, but again, I'll have to test that out myself. Yeah, I mean, first impressions without turning it on, I really like it. I do wish that they would have sent me, they have a podcasting setup. And that podcasting setup includes 2 of these, some microphones, a mixing board, some stands, and so on, etc. For my setup, that would have been perfect because I am integrating podcasting into my day-to-day life. They asked me if I would check this out. I didn't go research them, and I'm happy to. I am super ecstatic that companies are starting to notice me and reach out. I'll give you a full review once I get it set up. All right, so the NearStream VM20, which I have the box right here. Cute little camera, really nice. Who's it for? I think it's for new streamers and new content creators. I will say that there are a few things that the company should improve upon. The first thing is the software situation. There isn't any software that comes in the box. And if you go and look at this particular product on their website, there isn't a software. There's lots of free software out there you can download and everything, but it would have been nice if they included something that you just, scan a code and then you get access to some software or something. That would have been nice. That's one of my only complaints with it. There's a lot of little nitpicky stuff that I could say. For instance, stretch the cord out earlier and I'm like, oh, it's about a 6-foot cord. What I didn't realize, and this is another suggestion I could give NearStream, is I didn't realize that the cord should actually be at least 2 or 3 times that length or more. I purchased another cord, which unfortunately didn't work, so I'll have to return it and get another cord. But in order to use the zoom features, like for example, this is just zooming a little bit. It's got so much more power than that, that you can have it way far away and get a lot more stuff, in focus. So the suggestion that I would give is to give a longer cord, or, which this would be more preferable, install Wi-Fi into this unit. I know their other units have Wi-Fi. In today's society, I don't know why you wouldn't have that. So that's the con, is that with the cord supplied, you can't get it as far away as you could. And what's nice is, the microphones, for instance, if you're like 16 feet away, they still work great, but you don't even have a 16-foot cord. So will it make or break this unit? Heck no. A lot of people are just going to use these for webcams, and they don't really need it to be that far away. But how cool would it be, like, if you were doing a little mobile setup where you went with your laptop, for instance, and a couple of these cameras, and you filmed events. If you had longer cords or Wi-Fi, that would definitely make it a lot better. Will this work for the average user? I would say yes, but you may have to invest into some longer cords. Now, my ultimate setup, which I had asked NearStream for a couple of cameras, and you know, maybe they'll send me more in the future, but my ultimate setup would be to have this in a multiple angle setup. They kind of have it in the sense that, as you can see, I could zoom out. We'll just zoom way in here. It just keeps going and going, and it'll go even further. So what's the point in getting this close? I don't know what the reason to have that much zoom if you can't have it far away from you. You know, nobody's gonna wanna zoom in on their eyeball. So that goes back to the cable situation. Get a longer cable or give us Wi-Fi in these units. I think their intent here is that you could kind of set up on the remote a few different things, which I've done. So here's one, here's another. And I just did a couple different angles. With a lot of these cameras with software, they would be able to actually do simulated multi-angles, and that could be done in software, but this doesn't quite hit that market. It also, you know, doesn't follow you around. You know, they have, I'll just hit it now. They have auto framing, which we'll see what it does here. And I don't know what good this does. This doesn't make any sense to me. So if I scoot my chair back, you know, this is supposed to auto frame. It's supposed to, you know, give you a perfect example. And that is not good. So another thing I would suggest for NearStream to do is just upgrade their auto framing and stuff like that, because it doesn't actually, from what I could see here, it doesn't work. There's also on the remote, there's this pad, and I thought maybe if I moved these joysticks around, maybe it'd move the camera around. So I thought that if I turned these buttons, if I pushed them in different directions, maybe it'd pan. It doesn't do that. So again, nothing wrong with the camera. The camera, actually, the quality looks great. I think that's one of those things, and I'm going to zoom all the way back to normal. I think it's one of those things that they missed the mark on that, to where if you're going to sell like a single camera, I have cameras, which here's an old one. This was an old Mevo camera. Those are several years old technology. And the software that came with that would do all this automatic tracking and all that stuff. Would have been nice to include some of that into this, and maybe they can do that in a firmware, or maybe they could do that in a future version of this. I think they're on the right track. I think when I'm looking at this camera, and I'm filming with it right now, by the way, when I'm looking at this camera, I like the form factor. I think that they could just improve a couple things software-wise. One being include some software. You know, it's a pretty nice product, you know, and the price point is like $299 US. Although I went to their website and I think you can get it for about $260. And for $260 for a 4K camera that you could mount in your studio, honestly, I don't think you could go wrong at that price. I think NearStream is hitting a market that gets neglected a lot of times. So, you know, maybe the small time YouTuber or the small time, you know, new person that can't quite afford, you know, a PTZ camera or any of that stuff, this hits a lot of marks, and it does really well. The remote, being able to do stuff like that, and do stuff like, you could change the color coding, which I'm going to go back to. Just the different zooms that you could pre-program this stuff in. I think that's really cool. The big cons are this: lack of software, short cord, no Wi-Fi, and no onboard recorder. So you have to connect it to a computer. You can't connect it up to your phone or your tablet. So with a lot of these newer content creators, they do everything from their phones and their tablet. So those things are the cons. The pluses to this is the 4K quality. I mean, it's got a great picture. It's got a very good 10x optical zoom. And so when I zoom in like this, the remote is cool. I guess the big thing with the remote is there's a lot of buttons, but the features of this camera don't really support a whole lot. I mean, you could have 9 different focal lengths and adjust from there, but they're not different angles. So I don't think that much was needed. I do like that you could change things at will. In a small studio like what I got, I don't think that you need to worry too much about all that stuff. If you're trying to just have a better web camera, this is perfect. I think that this is a lot better than what comes on my iMac here, a lot better than what comes on my laptop, better than my phone. They're saying it's comparable to DSLR. It depends really with the DSLR, what DSLR camera you got and what lens you have on there. So that's a marketing thing, and I get it. I don't blame them for saying that. This is better than your typical webcam. The cool thing about NearStream is they do produce a lot of other products. They have different versions of this camera. They kind of look the same, but they have a different product number, and each one will fit a different person in a different scenario. This, I think, is great for a small YouTuber or small content creator that, or maybe they want to just have a good stationary setup. I think this is a perfect little setup for it. I do hope, and I'm gonna just say this one more time in the video, I hope that NearStream will send me another couple of these cameras or other versions. It doesn't have to be this same camera, to set up at a few different spots in the studio so I can stream and switch between different angles, have a top down. That would be the ultimate setup for me. Now, for the average person, one camera is going to be fine. I think that you can't take this type of thing for granted, and I am, again, super thankful that they sought me out to check it out. I am not sponsored. I'm just testing this out. They're not paying me for anything I'm saying. They did send over a couple of requests to ask me to just cover some of the features. They didn't say, hey, don't say this or don't say that. And I don't have anything really bad to say about it. I think that it works as advertised. I think that it would be great for most scenarios. Now, for me as a professional photographer and a guy that's trying to rebuild his studio here and trying to capture the attention of more viewers and stuff like that, I need a little bit more advanced stuff. I don't think it's a deal breaker. I think I can make this work in my setup, in my studio. I would love another couple of cameras, like I said, and maybe that's something I could work in the future. I think they got something here. I think that if you need an inexpensive, simple setup, this is it. I would say go get yourself a product like this. NearStream, thank you so much. You've been very gracious, and I hope to do a lot more stuff with you guys in the future. That's it. Later, Gator.